Nicole, I think you can already tell we are delighted to have you here with us today.
So happy to be here. I flew in last night, so here I am.
Where from this time?
Tennessee, which is where I live. Yeah,
Sometimes
Nashville.
it's Berlin, sometimes
It's true. Not this time. Now we're still in the middle of finishing a show that we're doing there. We've got another week and a half and then we're done. So,
well,
but here I am. I
yes.
cleared everything to get here.
And we're thrilled. So I want to start with a pledge that you made in 2017. You said that you wanted to work with a female director every 18 months. But in the 8 years since then, you have actually worked with 19 female directors in film and television, which is incredible.
Yeah, I'm so glad. I did not know that number, so I know I've been working a lot with women, so it had to be high. But yeah, I made that pledge at the Cannes Film Festival at a press conference there because I just felt, one, it would hold me accountable, and two, it was something I wanted to do because the only way to change the numbers, it was to actually get in the trenches and do it. And so I'm still in the trenches doing it.
It's just like, it's a remarkable number, and the difference between kind of where you thought it would be realistic and what you've actually done is huge. And I'm wondering if you were to renew the pledge today, or even maybe, speaking of accountability, call for your colleagues, fellow actor producers who have the ability to get projects greenlit, what would the cadence be that you would want to see today? How many female directors would you want your colleagues to work with every year?
I mean, it's up. I think making other people do something, it's more about, do you want to do it? Are you willing to do it? And can you do it? So calling anybody else out on it, it's more like I'm just always trying to show up and do my bit. And my bit is I could probably make it so that every 12 months. But my desire right now, and has been, is to work with women. I love it. I just did a film, Babygirl, that was a very
We've heard of it.
And it was helmed by a woman who wrote it and directed it, and it was very much her story, and it was incredibly female in its gaze and in its storytelling. And it was fascinating to see that be put out in the world. But what was really great was that the film made money. So by that happening, it makes the opportunities more available for more women to write their projects, to say, this story is incredibly, deeply authentic to me. I want to have it put out in the world, and people will finance it. They'll be more willing to finance it. So that's actually, you know, everyone here or anyone that bought a ticket to that film is helping change the way in which, you know, movies directed by women are received. And if we can say that they're also viable in the business aspect, then suddenly the world is far more our oyster. So thank you to anyone who bought a ticket and saw that movie. You did your bit.
You also make a great point about how women need the ability to not hit it out of the park the first time, because it's an industry where if you don't hit that commercial success the first time, you might not get another opportunity. You might not get financing again.
Yeah, I think what's happened, and the reason the percentages for women helming films and shows is still incredibly low, is because we don't have the ability to fail upwards. And I think, and when I talk about fail, I don't mean a complete disaster of a project, but sometimes it might be. You deserve a second, third, fourth chance. And part of it is when you put something out that's quite good, or there's aspects of it that are good, you then need to be given another shot, because the way you develop your talent, rarely is it going to be immediate. It's going to be layer upon layer, step by step, and that requires patience, and it requires all of us to go, okay, I see what you're trying to do there. What about this? And the mentorship, but the opportunities. And I think, and this is just what I've noticed, is a lot of times women get judged very, very harshly. And so the more we can resist doing that, we allow growth, and we allow expansion, and we allow opportunity. So a lot of it is saying, yeah, okay, maybe you didn't love that, but what were the good things about it? And that sort of support. Because by doing that, we're actually helping each other. And we're helping the world, because the stories about us being put out there build compassion and empathy and understanding, and therefore we're all moving closer and not further apart, which is primarily the goal.
We do need a little bit of that right now, I think.
Yeah, I'm frightened it makes me frightened when there's incredibly harsh judgments on things where the intentions are good. Because I think we're actually shooting ourselves in the foot when we do that. And I get it, you need criticism, but constructive criticism and support. It's the only way we get better. And I had it through my whole career. I've had the ability. I was one of the fortunate ones where I was given a chance over and over and over again, and I'm still being given that. So, and thank you, because actually by giving me this, the Time Woman of the Year, that's an incredible acknowledgement, but it's incredibly helpful too for what I'm trying to do in the world right now. So thank you.
Let's talk a little more about Babygirl, which you mentioned was a commercial success, but what you didn't mention was that it was her biggest commercial success in 2 decades, which is incredible. And Nicole...
On film.
On film.
Yeah.
You just surpassed the $2.5 billion career box office mark as well.
Which I have no idea what that means, but it sounds like a lot of money.
It means people paid $2.5 billion to watch your movies.
So once again, I was given the ability to fail upwards.
Which is amazing. But I'm always interested in, for an actor, what it's like to inhabit a character, particularly one as vulnerable and complex as Romy, and what you kind of discover about yourself through playing a role like that.
I mean, a lot of that was a discovery of a woman's sexuality, female sexuality. Helena is, she mines that territory in her films, and she's made a film, and a film Instinct in her home country that I'd seen, and she has a fascinating approach to, I think what she calls it radical honesty. And so I hadn't seen that depiction of women and their sexuality and their orgasms and the way in which it's discussed in relationships and what that means. And the radical honesty of the film was meant to throw something into the world that kind of disrupted, agitated, or ignited or turned on people, and therefore creates more discussion and more openness, and hopefully even inner discussions, inner questions. And I was just grateful to be offered the chance to do it, because I find, there's limitations to what you get offered. So suddenly this came my way, and I was like, wow, I've never seen anything like this. And that required also then, we had limited amount of money, so it was like, okay, buckle down, get in. We were really, really rushed and trying to achieve her vision in a very short period of time. But you just go, roll up my sleeves, let's go. And it was incredibly exciting at the same time, because it was so confronting to me. And what I was just like, wow, this is so new and so dangerous. And I'm excited by that.
Does it make you want to take on more projects like that? That
Oh,
feel
yeah.
confronting and dangerous?
Yeah. I mean, there's also the aspect of me that wants gentle comfort, wants to not agitate, wants to provide, I suppose, escapism. There's many different facets to me, as there are to all of us. I'm sort of trying to take a big bite out of, the world and what I do and share my opportunities with other people. So I have many aspects to my personality and my desires. So that's one area. But I still have the desire to make an incredible love story. I have the desire to make a film about marriage, like a really, really raw, deep film about marriage and partnership. All of those things. At some point, I go, okay, maybe I'm going to have to write it. Or seek out someone to co-write it with, because there's, percolating as you go through your life, you build up all these ideas, and sometimes you're not going to find the people that are going to give you the chance to express them. But I'm still very alive and engaged and hopeful.
That would be exciting. Do you have like a working title in your head for this marriage film?
I was like, when I was saying, I was like, shut up, Nicole.
You've said too much. No, we're so excited by this. This is great. Can I tell you my favorite thing about Babygirl?
Go ahead.
Okay. So, sincere apologies, but not that sincere, to anybody who hasn't seen it yet, because I'm about to spoil the ending, but you've had 2 months. So, again, I'm not that sorry. But what I love is that the affair doesn't ruin her life.
Yes.
Some
agree.
other people love it too. It's amazing. It's amazing.
So
because the
now
whole
let's
time,
talk.
It's
That was so important, and that strangely enough we were sitting, we were talking, and that's what's so beautiful about working with someone that is directing but also writing it. And as she's writing, and she was obsessed, so you could call her at 11 o'clock at night and she would be working and massaging the scenes for the next day or rewriting and as we were shooting, that became more and more apparent, particularly because of Antonio and what he brought to the performance, how it needed to be, the marriage is good. The marriage is about love and loving every aspect of who each person is in that partnership, in that marriage. And that's what I thought was beautiful. I've made another film which was about grief and the loss of a child called Rabbit Hole, which was also where the marriage survived. So I believe in that. I believe that, there's always going to be journeys in partnerships, but there's a fusing through certain pain and through certain journeys that you go through if you choose to go through in it together and get deeper and closer. And that isn't always depicted. A lot of times, as Helena says, with a film like this, with a woman, it would end in tragedy. She would end up cast out, she would end up suicidal, she would end up losing everything, and she would end up being punished. And that was very important to us, that was not what this film was talking about. So...
Yeah, I loved that aspect so much.
Yeah, good. I'm glad you did. Everyone's looking like, what?
Didn't you guys see it? Didn't you also love that part? Yeah. Yeah. I once interviewed the late, great Cicely Tyson, and she was fantastic. And I asked her how she thought about the question of retirement. And it's a very delicate question to ask because you never want to imply that someone needs to retire or you think that they're done. But I was just thinking about my parents and how they had worked so hard, and I felt like they deserved to wake up in the morning and spend their time the way that they wanted to. And she sort of scoffed at me and she was like, when you retire, you die. So how do you think about the arc of your career and your desire to keep working? You are so busy. You are not slowing down at all, ever. It seems like you're only accelerating.
I am a little bit now. Balance is important. And the idea of retiring, I think, is almost... I don't know about that. I don't think, I mean, retire from what? Retire from this journey, retire from working as an actor. I always have choices, but retiring from life, absolutely not. So may I go on a different journey at some point, but I'm never going to be retiring from life until it's chosen that that's it. You're done now, Nicole. And I don't think by having a number or an age attached to you does any help for that. It's just your ability, your passion, your desire, and the opportunities you have. You can always find avenues for expression. So I'll never be retiring. I may be easing or choosing something different at different times, but I can tell you right now I'm not retiring.
Not that we would ever want you to, ever. I would love to end with a quick round of rapid fire questions, if we may.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Bring it on.
All right, so don't think too hard. We're just off the top of your head. Director you would love to work with?
There's so many. I've wanted to work with Catherine Bigelow, so I'm always putting that out there. I grew up watching her films. I know she's doing a film now, but I'd love to work with her. So Catherine, I'm calling.
Noted. Best show or film you've seen recently?
I loved Honora. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I really loved it. I loved The Substance. I loved Demi's performance. And Margaret's. I loved that it was a woman who was forging some path that was so crazy, wild, but completely relatable.
Go-to karaoke song?
It always has to be ABBA. Any ABBA. I know every word.
Satine or Virginia Woolf?
Why do I have to choose?
I knew you would say
Satine on Monday, Virginia on Tuesday.
that. We love it. Green juice or glass of milk?
Of course, milk.
Nicole Kidman, everyone.
Thank you for having me, and see many of you tonight.